So in part 1 we did the outer bag construction, and in this video we're going to crack on with the lining slip pocket. So we have slip pocket lining, slip pocket accent piece. When they're both right, have them directionally the right way up, right? And I'm going to flip this one round. So this one is wrong way up and also directionally wrong way up. Okay, hope you followed that little thing. And we're going to sew them together along the bottom edge using seam allowance. And then this way, because we've sewn this one directionally the wrong way around, when we open them up, they will now both be directionally. If you're using, obviously this fabric, it doesn't matter which way around I do it. If you have a picture, it will be the right way up. So what we're going to do is press these open, wrong sides together, give it another press, and top stitch all the way along this folded edge. There we go. So I have top stitched and then open these pieces up once more. So I'm just going to angle this so that it's all in shot. This is the top edge of your lining panel. And you can measure and mark this, or just simply hold a ruler there. But we're bringing this folded edge up to meet this 1.5 inch mark line. But feel free to just mark the sides within the seam allowance first, and then bring the fold there, like that. And then we can give this a press, just to make the fold at the bottom of the pocket, or the inside of the pocket. There you go. If you want to, feel free to base stitch down the sides, but we just need to check that it is the right height. I'm just going to grab one of my lining pieces. Now mine is a little bit short, and that is my oopsie, because I cut this piece a 1/4 inch too short. So that's my bad. Your one should probably be spot on, because that looks like a 1/4 inch gap. So what I'm going to do is just fudge it a little bit. Like I said, yours should be spot on. Now this is exactly the same process as we did with the outer bag. You take one right side piece, you place it right side together, you stitch down the right side. Should we do both at the same time? I think we should. So I'm putting my left side piece on. Like I said, yours should be all lovely and matched up, because of course you wouldn't have mismeasured like I did. So I put 2 pieces on already, so I'm going to sew down both sides using seam allowance. And once you've sewn the sides, we can press them open, and then with the seam allowances facing towards the side edges, top stitch down the sides of the seam. There we go. That's one side of our lining complete already. Smashing through this so we can do the zipper side. So we have an upper zipper and a lower zipper, and then the 2 zipper lining pieces. And disregarding the accent strip, this is exactly the same construction as with the outer pocket, the pleated pocket. It's exactly the same. My zip is Mahusive because I buy them in bulk. But yeah, I can just trim that off after. I'm just going to make sure that these match the width, because you don't want to accidentally put them in the wrong way around. You'll see that that's too narrow. So zipper, I've got the pull on the left so that it matches the direction of the pull on the bag. It's a nice little touch when the zips go the same way. So right side to the lower zipper. I'm going to base stitch these together. I'm going to switch to my zipper foot because we're using a smaller seam allowance here. So base them together first. Base stitch and take one of the lining pieces, right sides together, matching up with the zipper tape. I'm going to sew them together using a 1/4 inch seam allowance for this one because it is a number 3 zipper, so a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Like that, and then we're going to unfold them and refold them wrong sides together. Press your fabric away from the zipper and then top stitch all the way across. Once it's top stitched, grab your remaining lining piece. I'm going to place this on top. I'm matching up the top of the lining with the zipper tape, and just make sure that the lining fabrics are right side together, and base stitch all the way along the edge. And then finally we'll take our upper zipper piece, and if it's directional fabric, just check that it's the right way around before you flip it on. Top, right sides together. Again, match up with the zipper tape and just check that it's level on the sides. I'm going to sew them together using a 1/4 inch seam allowance again. And once that piece is sewn in, I'm going to push just that piece up. Press and then top stitch, so just this one piece is facing up and you've got 1, 2, 3 pieces facing down, like that. And last but not least, we need to close up the pocket. The pieces are cut the same length, so one is slightly smaller than the other. All we're going to do is sew them across the bottom using seam allowance 1/4 inch, 3/8. Honestly, it doesn't matter. I'm going to say it's your preference. So pocket sewn up. All I'm going to do is move my zipper to the middle. Trim the sides. Add zipper fray stop, whatever you call it, if you want to, on the zipper tape. Otherwise, we can go ahead and put the sides on just the same as we did with all the other panels, really. So if you wish to, you can base stitch down the sides first, just to hold everything together. And also check that these pieces are the same height. Again, I know what's going on with mine today. it is what it is. I'm not worried because it'll all turn out right in the construction. Like that. Sew them together down on both sides using a regular seam allowance. If you've got your zipper foot on your machine, don't forget to switch it back. There we go. So once you've sewn them, same again. Press the side outwards, and with all the seam allowances facing the sides, we are going to top stitch. Just I've double checked my pocket. I mean, it's a bit too late at this point, but I'm double checking it. So we can do some lining construction. Lining pieces right side together. Now don't get carried away, we're not sewing them together just yet. We need to make some gaps. On the bottom edge. A rough, you can measure if you want, 1 inch. It doesn't have to be a perfect inch, which is why I'm not measuring. Then on the side, oh gosh, my voice. I'm going about 2, just on one side. I mean, that's more like 1.5, but you get the gist. So I've gone 1 in on the bottom edge, and then a rough 2 inches. Just for, how far off was I? Oh my gosh, way off. Like I said, doesn't have to be perfect. So when we sew the lining pieces together now, this side we're going to sew all the way. The bottom edge we're only doing this bit and this bit, and then on this side we're doing this bit and this bit. So this is our closure gap. This is our turning gap. So when we turn the bag at the end, we're going to turn it through this lovely big gap here, and then we will close up this gap through this one. Makes sense. If you don't want to do this one and you're happy to just close and have a seam at the bottom, go ahead. But I don't like looking into a bag and directly having that like folded over seam, like staring you at the face. Which is why we're going to tuck it in the side, nice and hidden. I'm at the point now in my day where my clips are not in a pot anymore. They're literally just like someone's thrown confetti. They're everywhere. So anyway, sew the bits you need to using regular seam allowance. If you want to trim bits of your seam allowance now, you can do it. I'm not worried about leaving little tabs like I do with the thicker fabric, because you know you can nest the lining and open it easier because it's thinner and it does what you want it to most of the time. Anyway, like that. Now we need to box the corners. So, side seam to the bottom seam. You can open the seam allowances if you wish. I am just going to nest them. So I've just got one going one way and one going the other way. I haven't said nest in the pattern because I'll be honest, I didn't really know what it was when I started bag making. And if someone said to me nest the seams, I wouldn't have had a clue. So either open up the seam allowances or nest the seam allowances, but either way, match up the seams and sew across both corners to box the corners. If you want to get rid of a little excess, you can do. I'm just avoiding this bit where we've joined the pieces together. That's your lining done for now. So I'm going to turn this lining half so it's right side out. Then grab your outer bag, and if it still looks like mine here from where we put the zip in, turn this one right side in. There we go. Tuck the handle and just push it right down in. So the zipper from the lining is going to go against the slip pocket on the outer bag. Just like that. And we're going to clip them together. This zipper here, make sure it's not twisted, push it down inside. When it comes to pinning or clipping, make sure it's pointing downwards, but it's also nice and flat and smooth. It's got this gradual, if you push it down like that, you're going to have a fold and a pinch. It needs to go down gradual. So open the seam allowances, do what you need to do. Ideally, the seams shouldn't be too near each other so that you haven't got the bulk from the lining and the outer all in one place. In an ideal world, that is where they shall sit. See, again, where my seam allowance ends is where that seam starts. So they aren't near each other on the zipper. So make sure everything's tucked in neatly. We're going to sew all the way around. Oh, we got a wobble. All the way around the top edge using seam allowance. So I don't have a removable bed, so I actually use yoga block. I prop my machine up and then I can tuck this on the end. If you have a flat bed or like a built-in one, you will have to sew it from the inside. There's no two ways around it. I'm going to use a 3/8 seam allowance. You are welcome to use a 1/4 inch. Again, like I said earlier, if you're not exactly sure the width of your zipper tape, you can just go for a 1/4 inch seam allowance all around the top. But mine's a number 5. I'm happy with it. I'm going to go for a 3/8. There we go. So you've sewn all the way around the top using your preferred seam allowance. So we can go ahead and through this lovely large turning gap in the bottom edge, we can turn it right side out. I'm just pushing at the corners of my outer. So, it's alright, I just had to check which way around we were doing it so that I could actually follow the instructions. So we have the closure gap. So we're going to reach through and grab the bottom edges of the lining. Pull it through the closure gap. Like so. And use pins or clips to sew the edges of the turning gap closed. To clip it closed and then sew it closed. Like so. Pull as much through as you can. Don't be shy. And then sew across this edge, whoop, in a lovely straight line, obviously, using seam allowance to complete the bottom edge. So going from where we started, that 1 inch marker, all the way to the other 1 inch marker. So once you have completed the turning gap, I've just trimmed the seam allowances a little. You can pop that back through. And then we've just got the closure gap. We've kept it small so that it's less to fiddle around with. But basically what I've done is I've folded some of the lining into the hole. And then you can kind of pull and pinch so that the ends or edges fold. You might need to do a little bit at a time. This is why this is tucked away in the side, so you don't even see it. We're going to sew that closure gap shut across the edge as close as we are comfortable with, using a regular stitch length, like so. And I haven't changed to a coordinating thread just so you can see where my stitches are. So when that's inside, you won't even know it's there. And now for the fun bit of stitching. Push the fabrics away from the zipper as best you can. If you want to clip parts of it, like I'm just rolling like that. I generally just work it as I'm sewing. If your fabric allows, you can press it. You could just press the lining. And we're going to top stitch all the way around the outside. How you actually do it depends on your machine. But the main thing is these connector tabs strap connectors need to be up out of the way. And then when you get to sewing here, move your zipper up and your strap connectors up. So we're going all around the top edge, pushing and working this as we go so that there's no fabric near the zipper teeth. Top stitched. Just check that your zipper closes and breathe a sigh of relief, because all we've left to do is put the zipper end on. If you feel like you want to trim a bit of this off, you can, but I just like to fold mine, get rid of any fluffy bits, slide the zipper end on. If you don't have a zipper end, in the guides playlist there is a video on how to make a fabric zipper end. I'm just using awl to carefully make a pilot hole for the screw, which I have misplaced, but there will be a screw there. I will tuck mine in. But that is it. That is Lottie. Pleated pocket. Slip pocket. Pockets, pockets, pockets. Surprisingly roomy. And then we've got our second zipper and our second zip. That's it. And of course our fancy handle. Right, very quickly, if you want to make a lot of noise, to add an extra strap. In the playlist there is a video on how to make a long strap, which is what I've got here. You will need 2 snap hooks, 1 strap slider. So I'm going to take the end. You can measure and mark 4 inches or thereabouts. Pop it through your strap slider. If you have a wide mouth one like mine, make sure it's in this M shape. If you are sewing this on, give yourself as much room as you need to sew the box. I'm just going to clip mine for now. So you would pop on 1 of your snap hooks and slide the end, weave it through, so your hook is now secured. And the other end, again, if you're using rivets or you might be sewing a box, but just double check that the fold goes in, so when you're wearing the bag you don't see the folded end unless you want to see it. It's absolutely fine. So that would be your adjustable strap. And then when you're wearing this, you have it as a shoulder bag, or clip on and wear it as a crossbody. And the handle would just sit downwards. Take it off as you need. So definitely I would go for O-rings if you are using adjustable. Otherwise you can go fancy as you like. Anyway,